only from where we are can we be who we are. We cannot be who we are from where we ain't. And depression can be named as you not being where you are, so much so that you forget who you are.
MS can get on your nerves.
If you're living with MS or even loving someone with MS,
You don't have to face it alone.
this is On My Nerves, MS Unfiltered,
A place for honest conversation, connection, and healing
where we say the quiet parts out loud
together.
together.
Welcome. We're glad to have you with us today. How you doing today?
I'm so good. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for having me here, y'all, on your podcast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Marlon, we're going to open it up. We want you to explain to us, because Marlon is an anthropologist by profession. He graduated from Fisk University with a degree in anthropology. And it just so happens that he's a yoga instructor as well. So we're going to ask him a question that's very much in his lane. Can you give us the anthropology of yoga? And then after you do that, can you tell us what yoga is and what yoga isn't?
Well, first, let me say this. I did graduate from Fisk University. I graduated with a self-generated major in political science and visual anthropology by putting together coursework from Vanderbilt University and Fisk University together. So Fisk does not have a school of anthropology, which is why I went to the Vandy side and we integrated them. So I just want to be able to say that. Anthropology comes from two words etymologically. Anthropo, which means speaking of human, and ology, which means study. So anthropology is simply the study of being human. And yoga is a portal through which we access the fullest expression of who we are as human beings through presence. So yoga is the practice of presence that's so powerful, it becomes a portal or a doorway that opens us up to us. And what yoga is an alignment of the mind, the body, and the spirit that remembers us back to our humanity. Kind of going back to the anthropology of yoga. Yoga aligns the mind to the body and the body to the spirit or to the soul that gets dismembered in our everyday lives through challenges, through disappointments, through the sensations of hopelessness that makes us human beings. The practice of yoga through breath and through movement slowly generates this integration of the mind to the body and the body to the spirit, and it becomes amnesia therapy for the human condition. And we remember, oh my God, I'm human. I remember my daughter, Shell. You know my daughter. Y'all, Michelle is my cousin, my first cousin. And my daughter's name is Phoenix. And one day, she was 5 years old, y'all. We were driving in the car, and she was like, Dad, it just hit me. I'm human. I'm a human being. She's like, I'm not just Phoenix, I'm a human being. And that's the practice of yoga. The practice of yoga allows us to move beyond the borders of the identities that others set for us and to the processes that others set towards us, for us to go inward to remember that we are human, that we are the integration of mind, body, and spirit. So, what isn't yoga? Yoga isn't just stretching. So the limitation that some people have with mobility in their body does not limit them from awakening to their humanity through yoga. Yoga isn't a practice of collecting postures. It's not like a party trick club or campaign to see how many people can stand up on top of their head. You know what I mean? And it also isn't aerobics, where the goal is to collect a bunch of exercises. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. Yoga is an exorcism just as much as it is an exercise. You exercise, it's an exorcism of the mind to release those things that keep you from being burdened. It's an exorcism of the body to release toxins through the sweat and through the breath. It's an exorcism of the soul to remove all of the things that make us who we aren't, so that we can welcome the things that make us who we are. So that's the anthropology of yoga. That's what yoga is, and that's what yoga ain't.
Wow. I have never heard that explanation in my entire life. And with that being said, it is exciting because it makes me feel like many disease states, specifically MS,
Hmm.
can be not cured, but facilitated
Mm.
towards an exorcism of the toxins that cause, because a lot of MS is harnessed in your mind. Yes, it is a neurological disease, but when you stress out, when you panic, it makes the symptoms that you already experience worse. But integrating breath and movement in the
Hmm.
body would facilitate more alignment in your body and alignment in your spirit, more alignment in your soul, thereby movement in your body. It just seems it just seems like based on your explanation, it's hopeful
Hmm.
to hear what it can do for specifically MS or all people because it's about the human condition, but specifically about MS patients. So, wow, thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah. And it is. It definitely will empower the physicality of anybody, right? And those with MS, which is the subject matter of our discussion today, it really is less about curing any dis-ease and more about generating ease. And from the
Hmm.
Mhm.
generation of ease, when we generate ease, from the core of ease come all kinds of benefits for the mind, the body, and the spirit. That can include physical healing, but the core of it is not to heal a disease, it is to bring us to ease, right? And so
Wow.
it's called
Yeah.
Santosha, is one of the principles, one of the philosophies of yoga, Santosha, and that means contentment. And
Mm.
so it does not make us content with what our bodies can't do. It makes us content with what our bodies can do. It also means enoughness. It doesn't mean that we feel like we should not be actively pursuing healing, but it does mean that we know that as we are enough.
Mm. Mm.
Wow.
That's great. Marla, I've got a question, man. And some of our circles, we walk around and people think that yoga is religion, that you cannot have yoga within Christianity. So I'd like for you to kind of explain or answer that question for us. Is yoga considered religion?
If you think of the etymology of the word religion, traditionally it comes from a spiritual practice that's rooted in rituals that guide people with disciplines to cultivate freedom. That's a religion. Yoga is not a religion no
Mm.
more than walking is. Yoga is not a religion no more than tennis, no more than jujitsu, no more than a beautiful walk in the park. Yoga
Hmm.
is, the word yoga comes from a Sanskrit, and one of the definitions of the word means that yoga is the integration of mind, body, and spirit as a choreography and offering to God. And so, oftentimes people believe that yoga is a series of movements and breath as an offering to the devil. You know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
just as meaningfully divine as a walk in the park. It's just as meaningfully
Okay.
Yeah.
spiritual as us witnessing a sunrise. You know, so
Right.
it's not religion that leads you from the outside in through religious practices. It just allows you to engage your body and your world more meaningfully. So I will say that it's
Right.
not
Right.
just an exercise now. It's a little more than that. It's a way of being mindful in your body so that you can be meaningful in your life. But it is not a religion, to answer your question.
Good.
Wow.
So, you would consider yoga as a maybe a complement to religion or a buddy along the way to help you fully become yourself within whatever religion you choose.
Yeah, I would say that it's a buddy to you first and
So,
foremost, and then you choose your religion or your context. Be it Muslim or Buddhist or
Right.
Some people would consider Buddhism to not to be a religion, but a philosophy. But I would say that it's a companion to human beings, and then it helps
Yeah.
human beings make better choices throughout the span of their lives, including what religious practice they do or don't choose. Yeah.
I see.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the
Right.
point. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Right.
Got you.
Hmm.
And it's based on how your heart, it sounds like it's based on how your heart is postured as to
Yeah.
how you
Your
use it as
spiritual
a
heart.
companion.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Hmm.
like, so yes, Christians practice yoga and it can deepen their faith, right? But it
Right.
deepens their faith through their humanity, right? It doesn't go around their
Hmm.
human to deepen their faith. It moves through their human to connect them to their faith,
I
which is
like
why
that.
it's not
Wow.
a religion.
Yes.
So it doesn't take you out of your religion to choose another one. It takes you through your body to choose the one that you're choosing. Because many, truth be told, man, is that many people who are professing Christianity have not chosen Christian
Yeah.
principles because the
That's
Right.
right.
choice for Christian principles rely on contentment. I have to be content with who I am because sometimes we displace
Yeah.
our aggression on the world. You ever heard of displaced aggression as a psychological phenomenon? It's where you have a bad day at work and you come home and you kick the dog. It's like, what the dog got to do with it? So sometimes
Yep.
people are like disappointed with their lives and they use their spiritual appointment to hurt other people. There's a lot of Christians out there who, in the history of Christianity, have taken other people's lives because they're not happy with the lives they've been given.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Wow.
Hmm. That's a great point. That's a great
That's a
point.
very good point.
Do
Yeah.
you do you in your practice do you run into any cultural barriers? Like do you feel yourself having to defend yoga in the spaces that you're in?
Oh, no way. I think,
Yeah.
you know, well, first of all, oftentimes people defend themselves when they feel offended, right? And here's the
Yeah.
truth:
Hmm.
we only get offended when we have something to defend. But when there is nothing to defend, you don't get offended. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if someone were to walk up to me and be like, you know what? You ain't black. I wouldn't be offended. I'd just
Yeah.
be chuckled. I'd be like, that's crazy. But if somebody walked up to me and be like, you know what? You short and ugly. I'd be like, well,
Yeah.
what you talking about? I get upset because I am short. And as to whether or not I am or I'm not ugly is relative. You know what I mean? Like that's up in the air.
Yeah.
But but there's nothing to defend around what yoga is. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's a mindful way of connecting to your body.
Hmm. And for the record, guys, Marlon is shorter in stature, but he's far from ugly. Far, far, far from ugly. So back on topic.
Well, here I'd like to get into a little bit of specific symptoms. Right now, I'm experiencing some tightness. I'm spastic in my right leg, on my right side. Normally, it happens below the knee to the ankle. Sometimes it moves, and right now, it's from the ankle to the hip, and it's tight, and it's hard to walk, move. What exercises do you suggest specifically to ease some of the tension in the legs? You would take.
Hmm. Hmm. A lot of the tension that rises in the body, from skin to muscle to fascia to bone to marrow, oftentimes can be countered with muscle tissue strength, right? And so if you're
Okay.
finding that you have challenges in the legs, it may be that um, strengthening the back core of the body, shoulder blade integration,
Uh,
shoulder blade integration opens up the heart and brings the crown of the head into alignment with the shoulders, shoulders in alignment with the ribs, ribs in alignment with the hips. And so, the practice that we're going to do at some point is going to be a seated practice. And so, what it does is it strengthens the trunk of the core. And when you strengthen the core of who you are and you strengthen the back of who you are, it brings this anatomical alignment of the body that makes all of the other
mm,
organs more operable, and then the operability of the organs from the hips up Once they get happy, they begin to send all manner of healing to the rest of the body, you know? And so I would not target countering the spasm of the legs. I would target
Hmm.
strengthening the muscle tissue of the core, strengthening the muscle tissue of the
Mm.
shoulder blade, strengthening
Okay.
the alignment of the body, you know? Because a lot of times, many of us, and I don't know if you work at a computer, many of us have our shoulders shrugged, our chin drawn to our
Yep.
chest, our abdomens contracted. So that limits the fruitful nature of all of the internal organs. You see that? But when we
Right.
open it up,
Right.
all of our, as a matter of fact, do that right quick. Draw your shoulders forward and
Okay.
draw your shoulders forward and draw your chin to your chest. Good. Shoulders a
Yep.
little further forward. Good. Now breathe. Just inhale, exhale. Now lift your chin, lift your chin, draw your shoulder blades together to open up your heart. Good. Touch the top of your head. Touch the
Touch it.
top of
Oh,
your head.
oh, here we go.
Touch your shoulders. Touch your ribs. Now touch your hips. Feel the crown of the head come into alignment with those shoulders you touched. Feel those shoulders come into alignment with those ribs that you touched. Feel those ribs come into alignment with those hips that you touched. Now let's breathe. You ready? Inhale, breathe in. Exhale, sigh it out. Do you feel the difference in even how you breathe? The alignment of the upper body helps to cultivate the success of the whole body, you know? And so, if I were you, I would not focus on how to relieve the spasm from the heels to the kneecaps to the hips. I would probably rather integrate more of an opportunity for you to strengthen the back, strengthen the core, and
Okay.
come more into alignment.
Got it. Got it. That's very, very interesting. Okay.
That's so
And even in your
valuable.
walking life, when you're seated, spend more time letting the organs be good. Let them be operable. And so it takes work for the crown of the head to be over the shoulders, shoulders to be over the ribs to be over the hips. It takes work, but that work creates a new will for every organ in the body to be more operable.
Okay. So we're going to do this podcast sitting in alignment.
Sitting in alignment. And also you notice that like you attract more positivity when the crown of the head is over your shoulders over the ribs, ribs over the hips. You just present more. Your heart is more open to life, to love, to presence.
Mm.
Right.
Hmm.
I love it. Wow. Well,
Well,
guys, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, no, I got a question. How would you say that the practice of yoga may or may not help with like depression, like the emotional side of things?
Oh, bro.
That was
Oh,
a
man.
question about the physical side. Like, how does it tap into the emotional side?
Well, I mean, well, first of all, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, um, we learn how to move in between the choreography of the two.
Hmm.
The inhales and the exhales, the drawing in to be able to draw out of the body helps us to understand the relationship between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. And once we live in a liminal space between the two, then we grow more centered, right? That's number one. Number two, just the physical act of conceptual physics says that without friction, there's no movement. And so just to cultivate friction between what you think is comfort, like not having a physical activity, and what you know is call, like activating your muscle tissues, strengthening your body. Without friction, there's no movement. So the friction between comfort and call that you cultivate through your yoga practice creates movement of the thoughts. So the thoughts don't get stuck like a
Hmm.
swamp. They move like a spring, right? Because we're
Hmm.
creating friction. We're sweating when we do our yoga practice. We're
Right.
challenging ourselves physically. We're setting a goal to say, I'm going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end to something. And I'm going to start in the beginning. I'm going to move through the middle, and I'm going to reach the end. once you move through the beginning, the middle, and the end of a yoga practice, the mental benefit of you having started with the friction that I don't want to go to I'm happy I went is its own healing. Now, I do not suggest that yoga replace relationships with therapists
Yeah.
nor relationships to medication. Period. New
Hmm.
paragraph. Man, I'm gonna tell you like this. In my experience as a person who has suffered from what I call amnesia, personal amnesia, what other people call depression. When I say personal amnesia, I've
Hmm.
experienced moments in my life where I felt so lost that I forgot why I should get out of bed. I forgot what my contribution can be. And most days, I
Yep.
forgot who I really am. I just forget. You know what
Yep.
I mean? And
Hmm.
so the practice of yoga allows me to remember all of those things through the power of presence. Well, what's the power of presence, Marlon? Great question, y'all. Thanks for asking. The power of
No
presence
problem.
allows us to know that it's impossible to be who you are as a healthy person without being where you are as a human person. Most depression in me was when I was being pulled into the future by anxiety or pushed into the past by pain. So most of my
Yeah.
depressive states, I was not even I wasn't here. I was in the future where I was failing. I was in the past where I was hurt. You know what I
Mm.
mean? But
Yes,
when we
yes.
are where we are who we are. And only from where we are
Mm.
can we be who we are. We cannot be who we are from where we ain't. And depression can be named as you not being where you are, so much so that you forget who you are.
Mhm.
Got it. Got it. Depression is something that it's like circling the drain for so many people. But in the context of this conversation, we're talking about MS. But like like you were saying, the times in your life where you've
Oh my God.
experienced the amnesia, where you forget who you are.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but the way you described it, it made it seem like water. Like when you have water that is moving, algae doesn't form. If
Mm,
you have water that is stagnated, algae does form. So
mm,
by moving through the practice of yoga, you don't allow the algae of depression to form.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
By
mm-hmm,
moving
mm-hmm.
through the practice of yoga, you still create fresh water, new
That's right.
memories,
That's right.
new thoughts, new experiences, so
Mm.
you don't allow depression to take root.
Yeah.
That's
It
real.
seems like that's what you
Mhm.
were
And it's
saying.
not a cure. It's not a cure for depression. I want to make that
No,
clear. And I also want to make it clear
right? It's a
that depression
companion.
is it's very nuanced. You know what I mean? And it's not
Mm-hmm.
like black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Period. New paragraph.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yoga or meditate, mindfulness, being present. Let's just say that. However you get to being
Mm-hmm.
present allows you to be a better witness to your life, right? So that you know that
Yes.
you can better understand that what happened or what's happening to you, right, from perspective, may be happening for you from that perspective,
Right.
right? And so it kind of
Right.
allows us to lift above our lives just to be a better witness. So even if you just get better
Mm.
at witnessing how much life sucks, you're better at living. But when we get so lost in our suffering that it becomes just as hard to find joy as it is hard to find
Yeah.
the authenticity of our fingerprint because we're so close up on it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what my
Mm-hmm.
paw print looks like, but when I pull away from it,
Right.
I don't change. I do see, you know? So I'm not changing what
Mm-hmm.
I see, but I am changing how I look. And that's what the
Right.
practice of yoga does. It can't change what you see. It can't change the fact that you don't have enough money to pay your bill this month, or can't change the fact that
Mm.
you're afraid to take the next right step because you may fall. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It can't change that. But what it
Mm-hmm.
does, it doesn't change what you see. It transforms how you look at your life.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's powerful.
Yeah. That was great. That was
That
great.
is powerful.
Somebody get this man a book deal right now.
Right
What
now.
y'all
Praise God.
what y'all waiting on?
Praise
It
God.
doesn't change
Praise
what you
God.
see, but it changes how you look.
I do not have MS, and I do not profess to know what it's like to any degree, because I don't want to take away from the pain nor the promise, right, of that experience. Period. New paragraph. When you are walking, anticipating the fall, you are probably more likely to fall. But when you're walking and welcoming the sun, you're probably less likely to fall. Or when you're walking and welcoming the laughter of your daughter, you know what I mean? You're more present to
Mm-hmm.
life as it is, where it is, and somehow we get what we want, y'all. Even when what we want is to be right about how bad life is, we get that too. So we need yoga or mindfulness just teaches us how to want better and how to want more.
Mm.
Right. Would you say that yoga changes the bar? It changes our personal bar?
For
Like
me,
it
it
raises the
changed.
bar?
For me, what it did was give me a ladder to look at where the bar is, right?
Mm.
So even if the
Okay.
bar doesn't change, I get on the ladder and be like, oh my God, I had no idea that the bar was there. Higher or lower, I don't know,
Gotcha.
but it gives you a
Mm-hmm.
place from which to see your life. And man, there's just something about, of course, there have been all kinds of studies about um, how when you look at a thing, it changes what you see. In other words, if I pay attention, oh my God, look at me. Look at my plant. This plant has not been looked at all. God bless it. Look at that thing. But some studies have said that when we pay attention to our plants, you know what I mean? Like I haven't been paying attention to
Mm-hmm.
this poor little girl, right? it
Mm-hmm.
it can change the energetic properties in the whole room. It can change the nutrients, the
Mm.
nutrient value of the soil. I think the
Mm-hmm.
same thing is true in our lives. Like
Mm-hmm.
the better you are at seeing your life could be the
Mm-hmm.
better you are at being in your life, that will be the better you are at becoming your life. You know what I
That's
mean?
powerful.
Seeing,
Yeah,
being, becoming. Seeing, being, becoming.
that's wonderful. Hey, Marlon, do you want to tell us about your book that you've written?
I wrote a book called Unearthing You. And I integrated my practice as a visual anthropologist, driven by what's called participant observation, which simply means that anthropologists, before they begin their work, before they begin to assign um, an understanding of a culture, they participate as they observe. So they learn the dances, they learn the songs, they cut their hair the way the people cut their hair. They immerse themselves into the culture, right? And so unearthing you was an opportunity for me to look at myself as a participant observer, because I wrote it in the moment. I wrote it right after the moment where I had amnesia or where I was depressed. And I felt foreign in my body. I was like, this ain't me. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
stuck in the bed. I'm a dreamer. Like I'm a world traveler,
Mm-hmm.
like this ain't me. So I
Mm-hmm.
started to treat my
Yeah.
life as if it were a foreign territory, like it were a foreign land. And I became a participant observer. And I used rituals, mantras, and questions to help me be a better observer of my life, right? So it's called Unearthing You because it's a series of 21 mantras and days that allow you to, every day of the 21 days, explore some words and how those words resonate through mindfulness and meditation and some journaling. And after 21 days, you can literally unearth who you are from the dirt of indecision or doubt or fear, in my experience and in the experience of those who have purchased my book.
Right. Well, guess
Man,
what, guys? This is going to be phenomenal because that is exactly how MS patients feel. You feel very, read it. Once you're diagnosed, you have to spend, for us, Tim and I have talked about this. It took years
oh yeah,
to figure out what to do in this body, this
right.
different body that we weren't born with.
And that's
And
also constantly changing
that's
throughout the
constantly
process.
changing.
So you're trying
Wow.
to
Right.
figure it out
Wow.
while it's changing. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Wow.
And so
While it's
we
changing.
want to put, while it's changing. So we want to put the link to purchase Marlon's book in the description on YouTube. We're going to put it on Substack so that you can the link so you can order his book because This is a very valuable resource. It will probably speed up, because it took Tim and I years.
Yeah.
Reading his book might help you take more like a year instead of years, because if you're consistent in unearthing who you are as you're changing, it might make acceptance a little faster and
Yeah.
joining your own narrative a little faster. So we're going to put that we're going to put the link to his book in the description so that
Thank
you
you
can
so
purchase
much.
it.
It was good.
Marlon, where else can people find you? Any social media tags you want to shout out here?
Yeah, Marlon F. Hall on Instagram. Marlon, Marlon, middle initial F, last name Hall, Hall on Instagram. And also I do a thing called Story Relic for the body. I believe that the body holds our
Okay.
story and that there are parts of our story that wants to be unleashed through the opening of certain parts of our body. So we can embody who we want to be through practices of meditation and yoga. And so I do private sessions. You can go to my website, marlonhall.com. I do
Mm.
private story relic sessions where I not only teach you yoga, I also do a time of inquiry where I treat you like you're a subject in a foreign country and we explore your story as a traveler, as a foreigner. You exploring you as if you're going to Paris, if you're from Paris, France, if you're from Paris, Texas. You know what I mean? Same place, same name, but different place.
Okay. Okay.
And for all of you who are interested, we're going to invite you to join us in the next video, because guess what? We're going to do a mindfulness yoga session with Marlon in the video right after this. We're going to link you to it. But thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see
Thank
you in the
you.
next video.
Yeah. Salute, Marlon.
Thank you guys. Thank you, man.
This is On My Nerves, MS Unfiltered. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. None of this information is intended for diagnostic or treatment purposes.
Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Be well, stay encouraged, and we'll see you in the next episode.